Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, our program is about to begin. Please silence your cell phones or place them on vibrate.
أيها السيدات والسادة، سيبدأ البرنامج بعد قليل، لذا نرجو منكم التكرم بالجلوس في مقاعدكم.
My name is Ihsan and this is day 10 of WEP.
The good thing in this workshop is that a lot of people, they come, especially people who are not working with water, and they started exploring the water availability.
We're going to start off talking a little bit about how we've used machine learning or artificial intelligence to find those electrical codes in the brain and how that led us on an adventure.
I'm here to help share my journey and hope that people would benefit, can learn from my mistakes and learn from the things I learned along my journey.
If there was one word to describe it, what would you say?
Inspired.
Yeah, I was very touched in a few moments during his talk. I even had a little tear.
To be honest, at each point of the story, I'm like, this is where this guy gives up. But he never did.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon and welcome to WEP 22. Today I'm honored to actually be introducing our next speaker, Engineer Ihsan Shakur Abu Ghazaleh. He's a founder and chairman of the board of directors of AlBaik Food Systems, Express Food Company, Aqwat Food Industries, Saudi Ibhar Company for Food Industries, and AGAD Investment Company. In addition to his vast food and investment portfolio, he's also a founder and chairman of Abu Ghazaleh Charitable Foundation, a foundation that aims to give back to society in various ways. He's also involved in philanthropic work that ranges from serving as a founding member for King Salman Center for Disability Research and as a board of trustees member to facilitate the advancement of education and research at King Abdulaziz University and University of Jeddah. Engineer Ihsan was born in 1958 in Dammam on the Eastern Province. He received his bachelor's degree with honors in civil engineering from King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals in 1978. He's a licensed consultant engineer with the Saudi Council of Engineers. He also moved onwards to develop his own and expand his organization. He enriched his education experience by obtaining a diploma in food technology from France. And he's a certified team leader in implementing ISO technologies and quality systems. And he's a licensed internal auditor for implementation of HACCP systems. Engineer Ihsan is very interested in a wide range of sports. Most notably, he was a basketball player in Al-Ittihad and in the Saudi national teams from 1978 to 1980. Currently, he is a PADI certified advanced rescue and dive master. Please join me in welcoming Engineer Ihsan to the stage.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm not too used to give presentations like this, so please bear with me. First of all, I would like to thank the audience and the great King Abdullah University for this incredible event. and for all what we have seen today as achievements in your research laboratories. I would first like to extend my thanks and gratitude to the late King Abdullah, rahmatullah alayh, for this incredible feat where he had the perspectiveness and the long-sightedness to establish such kind of an institution. Moreover, I would like to give my thanks and gratitude to this beautiful country we're all living in, and the custodian of the two holy mosques and his crown prince and their government for ensuring and assuring the safety and security of everybody and everyone on this land. If that was not available, there's no research, there's no success, there's no achievements. Second of all, I'd like to extend my gratitude and thanks to my late father, Shakur Abu Zana, who taught us that education never stops at school or university, and it's a life going on action. Our mother, for installing in us the love to perfection and attention to detail. My brother Rami, for being my Aaron during this beautiful journey that we have together. My children and grandchildren, for submerging me with love and affection. My team members, who believed in our mission and vision all during this period, and they were our right arm in achieving what we achieved. And last but not least, my beloved wife, for teaching me what unconditional love is all about. As you can see, my presentation is a little bit controversial, since its address is the trap called resilience. Is thrive versus survive. And I would like to start with the story of basketball. So, do we consider basketball a model for success? Anything in this life can be related to anything else. So I'm using the story of basketball to try to exemplify a little bit what are the tools of success that AlBaik has used during this period of time, and what anybody can use probably, hopefully, to achieve their success. We'll start with a basketball team, young university students, 16 to 18 years old. They were hyper, they were super excited. They just wanted to take some balls, shoot some balls, and dribble it around and play one-on-ones. What they faced was a change of coach during that time, and we had a new coach called Bob Farley, the late Bob Farley, who I cherish and thank very much for installing the meaning of success in basketball in all of us. So these kids, 16 to 18 years old, they were facing Bob. And Bob, who had a master's degree in physiology, his aim was to achieve this, to have this team to achieve championships kingdom-wide. So his objective was to reach with a team, debutant team, to a champion team. And as such, Bob took us on a very long ride, and his aim was to achieve a winning game against a major team at the time, which was the Aramco A basketball team. So Bob took us step by step. In the first step, he ensured that everybody had their passion for hard work. And most of his training was about that, to make sure that we are all committed. And by the way, out of 15 players, we ended up with 9. So 6 of the players couldn't prove that they had the passion for hard work. So hard work was number 1. Number 2, he started to build our body and techniques. So we were doing excruciating exercises every day, 3 days a week, for 1 hour and a half. And then we were doing half an hour of planning, game techniques, defense plans, offense plans. And during that time, he achieved a certain level to take us to the second step. The second step was to increase our fitness. And Coach Bob had a saying, if you finish your 10 miles of jogging and you feel like you're going to fall to the ground, you have to do another 5 minutes. This 5 minutes is your fitness. This is the level of fitness. This is what will add to your fitness. So be it. Then we had to train. We never stopped training. We had 3 days a week of official training with the coach, but then we had to do 3 days of our own self-training. After that, he had to validate all the above to ensure that we are up to the level. So we were conducting friendly games with clubs from the region, from the MAM region. All that was in preparation for our championship and to go for the win. So what happened in that game is that we went in for the first 3 quarters, we got a very bad beating, and we got crushed. The other team had the experience, they had the agility, they had the know-how, and we just got ruined. In the beginning of the 4th quarter, just before starting, we were all sitting on the bench, and this is a moment nobody forgets. Coach Bob came to us and said, this is when your game starts, guys. Get up, get the win. And that was it. The 4th quarter culminated in a great win for our team, first time to win an Aramco team. And the other team, we were doing circles around the other team, jumping, dunking, layups, one-on-ones with them. We were doing give and goes, and the other team were exhausted. They couldn't follow up. So that concretized in us a major lesson, is that it's the hard work, it's the fitness, it's the commitment that wins games. It doesn't always have to be the techniques. So now if we take this example and we reflect it on a business environment, we will end up with, you have to have fortitude to start a business. If you don't have the fortitude, don't start. You will always fail. You have to build your resources. So in business, our resources are either material, manpower, know-how, utilities, assets, products. You have to make sure that you build your resources. Then you need to build your quality and safety margins. Without having quality and safety margins for each of the resources that you already built with great commitment, you will be always vulnerable to attacks, whatever they are. They can come as force majeure, they can come out from competition, market attacks, etc. Then you need to build your resilience. And here, I mean to build your resilience. Because all the above, once you're going to do your safety margins and you have built your resources, it will only prove that you can't take one blow. Resilience, by definition, it is the capacity of an object to go back to its original shape once it has been, it took a force, it took a hit. So to build your resilience, you need to ensure that these capacities, the extra capacities, the safety margins that you built, they are enough to take the hits one time after the other. And as such, you need to ensure that you have your resilience, and it's not something that you reach in one shot. It takes time. Now, if we know what is resilience, and we say it is the property of being elastic, so whenever I get a shock, like a bumper of a car, I go back to my original shape. We know in science that any material, elastic material, if it gets multiple cycles of contraction and extension, it will have fatigue. So there are cracks that will fall in there. And these cracks are very dangerous, because that's where you will be most vulnerable when you think that you have all your safety margins. So you need to ensure that whatever system you put to build your resources, to build your safety margins, that you always build them, implement them, control them, maintain them, and then develop them again. This is a continuous process. And if you do that, then you can prove your perseverance. Now you are in a perseverance phase where you have a sustainable business that can take the attacks, can take the hits, and it can come back again to its original shape. But still, this is not enough. What you need to is to reach to market disruption. And perseverance is the step that allows you to go for market disruption, to add value and thrive. If we look at it in a growth curve, we look at it, everybody has an intrinsic value in himself. This is God-given. But for you to grow, you need to have fortitude, step number one, build your resources, have your safety margins, build your resilience, the survival system, perseverance, and then go for market disruption. And that's only when you will have value addition, which is the thrive. But if you look at these things, they fall into 4 categories. There is the act phase, where you have your fortitude, you're building your resources and your safety margins. You have your react phase, where you are in the resilience and safety margins building stage. You have your pro-action phase, where now you have perseverance. Once you have perseverance, you can proact, you can anticipate events, and you can do a proactive step toward it. And then you have a disruption phase. So with these things in there, you will assure a first stage success. Because look at the graph. Once you reach at the end, it becomes horizontal, it's flat. And nothing in this world that is flat will survive, because the world keeps on growing. And if you don't keep growing with the world, you will just go down. So this curve keeps on repeating. So once you reach to the value addition stage, that becomes your first point as an intrinsic value. You already have it. And then you need to build your fortitude, resources, etc. for the next step, and so on. I'm going to take the last 50 years of AlBaik as decades, and I'm going to put the 70s, 80s, 90s, etc. up to the 2020s. And we're going to look at an interesting graph that shows different things. We have critical events that went on. There were, as effects, there was some critical effects that happened. There was also some business milestones. There was some disruptive business milestones. There were environmental and social milestones, and there were disruptive and environmental social milestones. If we look at in the 1970s, you will find out that the red is the critical events. And compared to the critical events, we had a lot of critical effects. So it was to take the blow and just don't react. You don't have means to react. So the 70s was a period where there were no systems in there. It was just a mom and dad show. It started with goodwill. The founder passed away. He gave away the management to other people, but there was no system building. There was no structures being built. So what ended up in the 70s is an action, an event, and a bad effect. If we go up to the 80s, we'll find out that once we took over and started building the systems, now we have some critical events, but look at the blue, the dark blue, the light blue, the green. These are either business milestones or disruptive business milestones, social, environmental milestones, or disruptive social and environmental milestones. We'll go through until the 2020s on the top, and we'll find that in the 2020s we had a big red, although the 2010s had no red, so there was really no critical effect that we consider, no critical event that we can consider it important to put on this graph. But when it came to the 20s, welcome to COVID-19. And COVID-19 had a major event. It was a major event for everybody in this world. But look at what happened. Look at the systems that were well-built, that had enough resilience, enough safety factors, that had perseverance in there. Look what happened. We have everything else in blue, dark blue. Look at the disruptive business initiatives that went on. Look at the greens. Even the social and environmental actions, initiatives were still there. So it's very important to understand that this is the result of building your resilience systems, your perseverance system in there. I will look at the 70s. I'm going to go very quickly with that. So these are some of the events that happened and some of the effects. So the red are critical events, and the effects, the red and the effects are critical effects. And we'll note that most of the events that happened in the 70s were in red. Some of the blue are simple events, but they were positive, like me going to college, Rami going to St. Albans College also, me graduating, an economic boom that was not of our creation. So they were there. Look at the bottom. The bottom were the effects. So the effects were mostly red. The blues are also, this is a haphazard blue. This is something that just went on because we were there. If we compare this to the 2020s, and we look at the COVID-19 event. So COVID-19 event can be broken down into 6 main sub-events. The first sub-event is a great blue. This is the smart government strategy, without which nobody of us would have been here today doing, producing, being successful. They did a great job as an input to everybody, and that resulted in a lot of blues to everybody. Now we have the reds. So in the reds, because of COVID-19, we had the risk of employees' health, we had supply chain problems, disruption problems, utility disruption problems, product sales disruptions, and factories and restaurants shutdown risks. Okay. Look at the blues. Now look at the action taken, not the pro-action, the disruptive action. First of all, we established a crisis team for the board and every single executive, managerial, and operating team. And it's still there until today. This has become a system thing. It is not because of COVID anymore. It is something that we have changed our management system, where we believe in working with small modules and give the sustainability to the module, the small module itself, whereby it will feed to the greater module. Another one was the implementation of COVID-19 health awareness programs for all our employees and their families. So we consider that our responsibility as a company, it extends from the employee to his family and to his neighbors and surroundings. So we did a major educational program for them. AlBaik and Akhwat pioneered the social distancing signage system. Remember the footsteps thing? Everybody probably has seen them. And this was pioneered in the beginning by AlBaik and Akhwat. And we implemented it, and alhamdulillah, it helped everybody around to ensure social distancing. All critical raw material safety stocks were increased by 100%. So we could foresee in 2020 that there will be a major risk of supply chain in the future once COVID is out. So we increased all our safety stocks by 100%. Remember, you have your fortitude, you build your resources, you build your safety margin. So you have to take these things even in a crisis mode. Communications with all stakeholders were done to ensure and assure readiness for the next 6 months. So we communicated with all stakeholders. Establishment of crisis communication team with the related government bodies, MOI, MOL, MOT, etc. AlBaik and Akhwat implement the work away from home policy, and it's still until today. This is a system-wide policy now. Anybody can work from home, anybody can work part-time, and it's there, and it's very efficient. I'm sorry, it's really long. Look at what the effects are. They're all in blue. AlBaik Safety Seal sanitizing towel implementation of all means. We were the pioneers in doing that. And alhamdulillah, most of the big restaurant chains followed. AlBaik weekly rapid antigen testing for all our employees. We were doing weekly testing, an antigen test for all our employees. Then comes the social responsibility part. AlBaik 1.3 million free meals relief kingdom-wide program for the neighborhoods that were under lockdown. Akhwat 100 tons of poultry meat relief for Mecca neighborhoods that were under lockdown. Abu Ghazaleh Foundation donation for 10 ICU beds in for King Abdulaziz University Special Emergency Unit. You remember at the time, there was a major problem with the ICU units, and one of the things we had to do is have an effect in there. Then we have first AlBaik International Group-owned outlet in Bahrain, AlBaik opening of one outlet in COVID-19 pandemic in Riyadh, AlBaik Delivery 2.0 was implemented within 1 week, AlBaik opening 2 outlets during COVID pandemic in Dammam, AlBaik breakfast menu, AlBaik license, and number 5, and the first international third-party license, and double bake at 7 riyals. Look at the 2020s. In here, we took a shock, but we didn't sit down. What we did is we went after it. We went after the opportunities that this shock has created. So this is very important. And if you look at the 2021, we'll find that the major event that happened, everybody speaks about, is the world's supply chain disruptions. Remember, we already took a proactive action for it in 2020. So we were probably the most ready of all food companies in Saudi Arabia to take the shock of the food supply chain disruptions. So in 2020 also, 2021, AlBaik first outlet in UAE Dubai Mall, world's first 8-lane drive-through in Tabuk. There were 3-kilometer long queues. So when people sometimes wonder why AlBaik doesn't do a drive-through, remember, our responsibility is to think of our neighborhood and our society. And we don't want at all to create traffic jams wherever we go with drive-thrus. Jeddah Excellence Prize Award for Falah Park Development. We did one innovative sports park under the Mina Bridge. You know, all this area under the Mina Bridge, it is underutilized. It's not utilized at all. So we came out with the idea that if we can utilize this area to be a breathing space for the people living in that region, and people in South Jeddah, before now the whole reconstruction has gone on, people in South Jeddah were missing outdoor facilities. So we did a basketball courts, football courts, walkways, running areas, playground areas for the kids. We were in Dubai Expo 2020, AlBaik leading CX brand in Saudi Arabia, and companies' transformation into closed joint stock companies. This is, I'm missing probably a lot, but this is the main thing that I want to reach to, is that if you are well prepared, you structure your growth correctly, please don't stop at resilience. Resilience could be your trap. Resilience is just the beginning of achieving value addition. And I will end with this, because this is what AlBaik is all about. It is precision and excellence. It is teamwork. And it is passion. Put your foundations and just fly away. So at the end of the day, it's all about our team's passion in value work. And this is it. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the speech. Now we open the floor for questions. There are 2 microphones on both sides. And also for people who are online, they can ask questions. So I see someone waiting. So go ahead, introduce yourself and ask your question.
My name is Iman Al-Haji. I'm a PhD student in Material Science and Engineering. Thank you so much for a very inspiring and insightful talk. I enjoyed it so much. And I'd like to ask you 2 questions. The first one is, do you think of opening a branch within KAUST? AlBaik would love to have it here.
Okay.
My son called it trade magician. I don't know, maybe because of, he called AlBaik red magician. Yeah. Maybe you can also tell us a little story about the logo and what its meaning. Yeah. That would be nice. Sure. And maybe the third question is, You talked about...
This is the extra garlic.
Yes.
The third question, huh?
The third, this is like really the main question.
Sure.
So you talked, I love your concept of thriving instead of just surviving. And linking it back to your, to AlBaik, like when you expand, usually we see a tendency to lose quality or to lose maybe the sense of culture. So how do you assure that you thrive when you expand or when you grow, not just,
okay.
Yeah.
Your major is political science?
No, maybe in the future.
All right. All right. So first question was?
A branch here at KAUST.
The branch in KAUST. It is totally unfeasible to have a branch in KAUST, but we promise you there is a branch that's coming very near to KAUST. Okay? So it will facilitate, yes, it will facilitate your purchases.
That's great.
And we'll welcome you there. The second thing was about the red magician.
Yes, the logo. Yeah.
We're not magicians, huh? Yeah. We're normal people that we appreciate all what God has dawned on us. And this is our responsibility to carry this amana that he gave us. Now the logo, it is an extract of an old logo we had, because I don't know if you recall, or maybe not, we were called Broast Restaurants at a certain time during our father's days. And then there was a major issue with the name because we couldn't IP protect it. So there was like hundreds of broasts around and people could not differentiate between us and other people. So we came out with AlBaik logo and AlBaik name in order to ensure to differentiate for the people, because it's your responsibility also to make sure that people don't get cheated once they go in a place and they think it's you. So the logo is an extract of that. Of course, there's the welcoming part of the logo, the smile and the shiny eyes. So it's all there. And the name, of course, is AlBaik. It's a well-put name to make it friendly to Arabs and non-Arabs, because it's easy to pronounce even for non-Arabs. So we took into consideration the name even to look for future international expansion. Okay? So this is number two. Now, concerning quality deterioration, I'm going to have to fight you here, because the only reason why AlBaik has not been expanding for the last 40 years, while we took over, is to ensure that quality is sustained in every shop, wherever we go. And we actually did not expand to Riyadh except 2 years ago. So although Riyadh market was there, it's a very lucrative market. And if we were thinking just in a business mind, we should have been there 30 years ago. All right? We preferred not to expand to ensure quality. Now, wherever you go, even in AlBaik branches, you might have a certain variance in quality. But I assure you that all products, AlBaik products they are served, wherever you go until today, they are produced in the same industrial facility, in the same food processing facility in Jeddah. And we are very proud that we have 28% women workforce in our industrial part. All the know-how is built in, even the buildings, the construction, the machinery, the systems, is all that is to guarantee the quality wherever we go. Can you have variances? Of course. Quality systems, it tells you always, you have a benchmark, and then you have a variance. And this variance is very important. How much do you have variance? Okay? So if you look at your standard deviation, you want to look at your standard deviation, you always try to reduce it. Second of all, variances are the name of the game. This is perfection is only for God. So everything is on a wavelength system. So our duty is to always try to shrink this variances. Second of all, and most importantly, is not to have a trend line where you're losing your quality. If you have any complaint, we have a customer care system, one of the most intensive in Saudi Arabia. Our employees also, they have something called My Voice. So they have their complaints that reach to the highest level in the company. So we are very worried if anybody has a complaint and cannot give it to us, right? This is our possibility for improvement. I hope I answered your question and you're satisfied.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll take a question online, then we'll go back. One of the viewers was asking, would AlBaik consider offering alternative meat, plant-based meats in the menu? Alternative meat to meat, plant-based meats.
Alternative to meat, yeah, okay. So we analyze all new fads in the market, let's call them, okay? But we don't get carried away with them. So it's very important to understand when there is a new technology going on, we don't get carried away with it, because so many times there are repercussions resulting from that. So now we hear of the meatless meat. It's not meatless meat. This is it's a vegetable protein isolate that you extrude to give you the structure of meat. So it's really a protein isolate. While meat, it's not just a protein. Meat is consistent, there's a lot of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, fibers, there's a lot of things in there. And we cannot really substitute health-wise meat with meatless meat. But the question probably came because of the food production capacity in the world, that we're coming probably to a bottleneck. Listen, I've been hearing this for the last 40 years. And the human being, he has been so inventive in producing more, better, and reaching to farther places. I do believe in the human being, but I also believe we don't get carried away. We have our research lab that is already investigating this meatless meat subject. But we're not going to go and jump on this wagon before we know exactly what are the repercussions to our customers. Thank you.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
مساء الخير ابو غزال.
حياك الله، الله يحفظك.
معك عزام خياط، خريج هندسه ميكانيكيه
ما شاء الله
من كليه جده.
ما شاء الله.
درست في البترول 2013 بس ما كملت.
حياك الله.
الله يحييك يا غالي. عندي سؤالين. هل الفرح يكون في ثول؟ ثاني شيء هل في مستقبلا يعني البيك ممكن يغير من الفورمولا حقته بخصوص التشيكن، ولا هل ممكن يتغير الطعم ولا حيبقى زي ما هو؟
اوكي.
ما عليه في سؤال اضافي.
تفضل. هي بقول لك هذه حبه التوم الزياده هاي. الله يحفظك.
الله يسعدك. هل مستقبلا اذا طبقوا شبكه القطار على مستوى المملكه، هل حنشوف فرق بخصوص الاقتصاد؟ هل تتوقع حيفرق مره؟ لانه لاحظت بعد ما فتح البيك في الرياض الجمبري، صحن الجمبري غلي.
كله غلي.
كله غلي.
انه الرو ماتيريال كله غليت. يعني احنا اعطيك مثل، انا راح اجاوبك على هذه لو سمحت لي في البدايه.
I think I need to translate the question into English.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry.
بعدها اخذت راحتي.
بسيطة. So the first question was, is the branch going to be in Tuwal? The second question is
the formula for the chicken.
The formula of the chicken, is it going to be changing, or the flavor is going to change?
In the future is going to stay the same.
Yeah.
And the third one, if we have in the future a train network throughout the whole Saudi kingdom, will it change the economy and the infrastructure? Thank you.
But you asked about the increase of prices also.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll answer the last one, the increase of prices, because this is the subject these days. Just to give you a formula, and we're very proud of, AlBaik food cost per meal is 70%. This is shocking. 70% is material food cost. Okay? Our competitors, their food material cost is 30%. This is the formula. All right? So whenever you buy for 1 riyal, in AlBaik you're getting 70% of material, while when the competitors you're getting 30 halalas. Okay? So whenever there is an increase in food cost, if the increase is 100%, it means we go up to 1.4 for the real. Now, let me assure you that our material cost increased by 100%. They increased by 100%. Not joking. You can go to any supermarket yourself as a consumer, go and check the cost of chicken or the cost of chicken fillet. It went up 100%. We increased 6%. 6%. You know how? Because we optimize our efficiencies, our effectiveness, utilization of our resources, reduce waste. And that's why I say I give my thanks to my team. They believe in this. This is a very tough environment to work in AlBaik. We really work with a fraction of the halala, all right? And to make sure that we don't increase to the consumer. I'll give you another thing, is that in the early days, we had to increase one day the price 2 times in 1 year. And it was the same problem. There was electricity price increases. It was in the 80s. And there, I'm not sure, no, it was in the 90s, I'm sure. Rami, 90s? 90s, okay? And we had to increase the prices 2 times. But when the costs went down, we were the only people that dropped back the second increase. Okay, the first increase was still the reason for it. The route was stayed there. But the second increase, the route went out, we went and dropped back prices. Our consultants told us, this is a taboo in the food industry. Never decrease prices. So I cannot guarantee you anything. If prices stay up the way they are, 100% increase in raw material, we just increased 6%. I'm sorry, really, if you understand it, it took us 4 months of continuous loss accumulation, but we have the commitment not to hurt the consumer, but at the end we had to do it, all right? So I hope I answered this. So now we're going to go for the trains. Of course, the trains are a fantastic method of transportation, and especially the freight trains. Freight trains. If the project of the freight trains goes on, then we'll all be very happy with it. The results will be enormous because it will reduce pollution, traffic, and it will reduce costs for all businessmen. So yes, I am really looking for both the passenger train network and the freight train network to go on. The taste. The secret recipes, when I said know-how, we own them. We do not buy them from anybody else. We know the reason why they're there. We know what are the effects, how to do them, how to process them. We have a state-of-the-art factory, first of its kind in Saudi Arabia, that is totally computerized, whereby any recipe that you need to do for AlBaik, and we have 65 secret recipes, 65. Sure. Okay? So our food processing plants, they don't do any recipe work in there. We optimize the work in the food recipe plant, and then everything reaches to the other plants, and they just put it as an input, as a material. So the variance that we're speaking about of quality are reduced to the maximum. Okay? So I assure you, recipes will not change. We know why they are there, and hopefully they will always stay there. Okay? First question?
Is it going to be in Thule?
Thule, yes, it will be in Thule area.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Close enough.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we'll take another question from the people online. I'll try to combine two. Tell us about AlBaik's social responsibility, and also I want to combine it with is the company pursuing sustainability strategy?
Yeah. Okay. So social responsibility is we are working in AlBaik to be a total quality managed company. So when you speak about total quality management, you have to ensure that all the requirements of the stakeholders are being always met. And to believe in TQM was that TQM was giving us what we want as a sustainable and continuous business model. So in our TQM system, society has requirements. Our environment has requirements, as much as our people, our investors, the legislative and the bodies also, and our customers. So this is an integral part of AlBaik. And when we do anything, we were probably the first food retail company that does a recycling program. All our cooking oil is sold out, and it is being recycled. It used to be for the soap industry, and now it's being shipped to Germany to being transformed into biofuel. All AlBaik oil, the one we see in the restaurants, it goes to Germany and they use it as biofuel. Recycling of aluminum, cardboard, plastics, everything. We have a project now, hopefully, that we already signed an MOU with Idama from KAUST to recycle back the organic waste and make it into composting material. So hopefully we will be visiting the pilot plant this afternoon, and we are very proud of doing that because we think it's part of our responsibility. Listen, making money is not a purpose in life. Money is a result of good work. It's like you in university. Getting a good grade cannot be your objective. If you put a good grade as an objective, you'll never reach it. If you put your objective that you have to have excellence in whatever you're studying, the good grade is a result of your excellence. So please remember this. Society has a right on us. The environment has a right on us, but a balanced right. We cannot go all the way like we see. It's like the meatless meat. We can say, oh, we're going to go all environmental. What happens to the business part? We have a social responsibility toward employing people. We have a social responsibility to be part of the expansion of the kingdom abroad, to increase the GDP in this country. This is part of our responsibility. We cannot just be too emotional about one subject or another, but we have to be balanced. It's a balanced approach. So the environmentalists, they have to be balanced in their way they do things, and the businessmen, they have to be balanced also. And if we are both balanced, then we'll meet together and we'll achieve things.
Excellent. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
This is Dr. Ziad Yahya from the UK. And just to start off, in 2019, some of my friends had come back from Hajj, and they were saying, oh, there's this amazing restaurant near the Haram. It's called AlBaik. You need to try it. And if they thought a few years later I'd be speaking to the CEO, they'd be laughing now. Anyway, so I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
The first one, I really like the way that you showed that arcing model of, increasing impact and growth. Yeah, and I wondered whether you'd be able to just make it a bit clearer for me what you meant by the different terms of fortitude, perseverance, and resilience. Because to me, they're all a bit fuzzy at the minute. That's the first question, and how they relate to each other. The second one is, you mentioned the quote from your past about how education is something you continue to do throughout the course of your life. I wondered whether you'd be able to give some guidance on what you think were the most important qualifications and things, formal education that you learned post-actual degrees that would help someone run a value-driven, efficient organization like the one that you run.
More particular in food or in general?
In general.
In general. Okay, so if we look at the graph, we're going to look at fortitude. Fortitude is really to have the passion to do the hard work. You need to sweat. That's fortitude. You need to have the will. This, we say it in Arabic, the niyya. I have the niyya. If I want to have a niyya for something, nothing will stop me for it. That's fortitude. And that's very tough because so many times we see with young kids especially, they are not brought up to have this fortitude, this passion to do work, to achieve something, whatever it costs them, So we're not going to speak negatively, but positively. So this is really fortitude. And you cannot start a business if you're not ready to take all the risks that are there. There are really sleepless nights. There are times where you're going to be bankrupt. We were not even bankrupt at a certain time because of I put the negative, the partners that our father had to take while he was sick. It was a fatal disease, so it was terminal, so he couldn't do differently. But we accumulated, we took an inheritance of minus 8 million riyals at a time where all our assets could not be 200,000. So, if you don't have something in you, say, no, I'm going to make it, I'm going to do it, you surrender, all right? So this is fortitude, and this is really, I start with it all the time. The second one is you have to build your resources. You remember the basketball thing. We were a team of young kids, super excited, but where we fit physically, where did we have the capacities physically to jump and dunk the ball? We didn't. Did we have the capacity to shoot a ball correctly on the ring? We didn't. So if you don't build your resources correctly and ensure that they are quality resources, don't go to the second step. Then you're gonna, if you do that and you stop there, you're gonna get a hit and you're gonna partially react. But every time you get hit, you're getting hit in your original core resources. And you don't want that. You don't want to get affected. So now the third step is to build your safety margins. And I'm a quality-oriented person. So in quality, we have something called your benchmark. Then you have a critical limit, which is the regulations. But then you have to put something called the quality limit. And the quality limit is that since you don't want every time to touch your critical limit, because that's bad. Every time you touch a critical limit, you stop, right? So we know that there is a curve, a continual curve. You cannot stop it, right? So instead of hitting on a critical limit, you need to go down and put a quality limit, which is more stringent than the critical limit, which in resources get extra resources, put a safety margin resources, right? So every time you get hit, instead of getting it in your core resources, you're getting it in your bumper, in your buffer, right? So this is very important. At this point, you have resilience. But this is step one in resilience. Because every time you're going to get hit, you can come back. But then, what I spoke about, are you going to be able to do it in all your resources? You have resilience in your resources? There's nothing called resilience, open. There's a resilience of every part of your resources, right? So, do you have it all? If you have it all, very good. Did you test it? If you tested it and came out okay, now you say, okay, I have resilience. Now, and we said resilience is the capacity of an object to go back to its original shape once it gets stressed. Huh? Now we have perseverance, and this is more important than resilience. I don't want to keep on getting hit. I want to build this resilience as part of my system. So you need to ensure that your resilience system is always being controlled, it is always maintained, and it's always developed. So, you know, it's the PDCA cycle, and we call it different in our company, okay? So you have to do, and this is a growth cycle. It's not just a circle, it's a cycle, and so a growing cycle. Once you have your perseverance, now you say, you know, if there is any out of scope thing, something out of the normal that hits me, I can still be there. I can come back. Now, I'm going to say, okay, what happens if I get hit? Isn't that an opportunity? And if you're familiar with SWOT, we prefer to use it as SWTO and not SWOT, because the threats are part of your systems. They're part of your strengths, your weaknesses, there are threats. And opportunities, what we spoke about, are coming from your strengths, your weaknesses, and the threats, right? But you cannot go for these opportunities if you don't have your base, if you have your own structure, and you're strong enough to take an earthquake, right? So I hope this is clear, huh?
Yes,
clarified.
Yeah, thank you. That's very clear.
Thank you. We're getting a lot of questions online, but this one is very relevant to us at KAUST. Is you have your own research labs. How can KAUST research work with AlBaik?
That's why we were here today. The whole day we've been going around your research labs. Wow, you ladies and gentlemen, you are lucky. Really, it's such a beautiful body, this KAUST, and all what you're doing, and especially that it is, this is a endowment fund. So, my God, I wish I could be part of it. It's so beautiful, huh? Yes, AlBaik, once we were small, we could do our own research and development, and we still do it today, but we have to also look into ourselves, and everybody has to know his limits. So we have limits. And as such, I think cooperations between an academic research center like KAUST and AlBaik will do benefit to the society and to our both entities. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Huda Al-Fadus. I'm a researcher here in KAUST. So thank you very much for the inspiring talk. We learned a lot from you today. I've got a couple of questions. So you pride yourself a lot on the team, and it's one of the core values that makes the business successful. So I just wanted to ask a kind of more philosophical question of what do you think the meaning that the team has when they come to work for AlBaik? What's that meaning they hold behind, that motivates them and is behind them to make them kind of get up in the morning every day to come and work for AlBaik?
Yeah. Okay. When you want to be a leader, you have to walk the talk, right? So if I want people to have, to feel belonging to a place, that they feel it's home, it's their family, I have to prove it to them. And this is my duty. So imagine the feeling of our team members during COVID-19. While all companies, they had to let people go home. And we insisted that they keep on working so that they get their salaries. Imagine that AlBaik distributed 1.3 million free meals to the affected areas, and that each team member felt that this is something he's doing. You know, the pride of doing things good for your society and for this world? That's why I say money is not the purpose. It is to add value, and I mentioned it in a couple of places in here. It's to add value. This is what is important. Once you add value, good things happen. And our team members, they all believe they add value. Believe me, they are all super exhausted so many times, like us, but they love it. Every time they come to work, they come with passion. They feel they're doing a difference, okay? So I don't know if there is a school that teaches this. The only school is the school of life. Walk the talk.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take another one online. Again, it's a KAUST student asking, would it be possible for KAUST students or even scientists to visit KAUST facility to learn a little bit more and explore the state-of-the-art facility that you have?
You're more than welcome. We do some visits to some of the universities. They come in for certain visits, depending on what is their specialty, so that we can get them the maximum value from their visit. So yes, you're more than welcome, and we'll be honored to have you with us.
And I think if you can come to us at KAUST Innovation, we can actually, because we have the strategic partnership with AlBaik, we can help you and organize that, inshallah.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the floor? Okay, go ahead.
Excuse me for coming back again. I asked 2 questions last time, so I just want to iterate the second one.
Sorry.
No problem. What do you think would, in terms of formal qualifications, in terms of the ongoing education people can get in life?
I'm sorry, I missed the most important of them.
Yes, okay.
I got carried away with that one. Huh?
It was a very good answer.
All right. I mentioned that one of the things that I will always remember my father with is that he taught us that education never stops. Okay, now, the secret is, do I get educated in everything? That would be sometimes a waste of time, depending on how you do your time management. But if you have the time, please, learn about everything. I personally read about technology, medicine, biotechnology, food science, name it, business, scuba diving. I do that. Your decision-making so many times comes from a multifunctional kind of education. This is what will make a difference sometimes between a leader and somebody that is there as an executive to do a job, all right? If you have the time and you're young, please, use your time. You know, you have something as an asset that people like us, they dream to have, is time. Time is you cannot calculate the value of time. I had one time a presentation with some young school children that were going to university, and I told them one thing. I told them, listen, and we were a group of 12 businessmen, and I told them, you know, each one of these 12 businessmen are ready to give you 1 million riyals for a year of your life. Please remember how valuable is time. And when I see sometimes young people losing time in things that don't add value, that's a problem. So whatever you do, anything you learn, use your time to learn something. For fun, it's okay, learn for fun. This is something you need to have. So you need to have a multifunctional thing, knowledge. Then once you have that, and it will be addictive, by the way. You will go wherever you are every day, you're gonna read new articles, new researches, ila akhiri. But then, whenever you want to do any project, please don't start without studying about it. You need to be an expert in that thing. You cannot give the expertise to other people so that they run the project for you. You need to know about it, probably more than them, but then you have to accept the fact that they have the whole time they're studying it, working on it, ila akhiri. But you need to know about it. Try to, when you don't have time, that's why I spoke about time management, start to be smart and target your learning for the things that will help you in going the next step. Sure. Okay? Anything. Study anything. Learn anything.
Thank you.
Okay?
Well, again, I would like to thank our speaker, Engineer Ihsan Abu Ghazaleh. Thank you for your time and coming here with us. There are a lot of questions that are online, and I see more questions out there, but we're running out of time. So that is an indication to please come back to us. We're excited to have you here at KAUST, inshallah. Again, join me by thanking Engineer Ihsan.
Thank you very much. Thank you.